This asinine, I want to pay off student debt, is an insult to the senior citizens, to the people who pay taxes, to people who decide, do I want to buy meat this week or pay for my medicine? That's hogwash. You got so many jobs, you got a great economy, let them work and pay off their bills just the way all of us do.
Well, that's certainly rich, coming from someone whose judicial campaign owed $600,000 in unpaid bills for more than a decade, but okay. Jeanine Pirro is unfortunately not the only person on the right with a bad take on student loans, as President Biden considers forgiving some student debt. Laura Ingraham tweeted, "My mom worked as a waitress until she was 73 to help pay for our college, even help with loan repayment. Loan forgiveness, just another insult to those who play by the rules." Now, I will note that back in the 80s, before she became a Fox News star, Laura, who graduated from the Ivy League Dartmouth College in 1985, then University of Virginia Law School in 1991, worked for a top New York law firm as a speechwriter in the Reagan administration and as a clerk for Justice Clarence Thomas. Way to look out for your mom while still letting her pay off your student loans by slinging hash as a waitress into her 70s instead of just picking up the tab for her, Laura. But you know what? I feel like Laura actually did us a huge favor by explaining modern conservatism in a nutshell perfectly. Just put the working class on the wheel, even if they're family, while the affluent and the rich eat. And while they may be cruel, Republicans aren't dumb. They know that if President Biden and Democrats actually do something about student debt, it could activate young and progressive voters who overwhelmingly prefer Democrats when they vote. And so they have introduced a bill to try to block Biden from doing just that. But what about voters in the middle who say, hey, I paid off my loan, so other people should be able to do it as well? Well, see, that argument is usually presented without a lot of context. Take this report from Georgetown, which points out that today, 2 out of 3 jobs require an education beyond a high school diploma. While in the 1970s, 3 out of 4 jobs required a high school diploma or less. So a college degree is not a luxury. It's a necessity for most people who want to earn decent wages. It is a literal ladder into the middle class. But the price of college has skyrocketed. From 1980 to 2019, the cost increased by 169%. That is not a typo. While worker pay for those aged 22 to 27 years of age has increased by just 19%. That is the mismatch, y'all. You need the degree, but the degree puts you into so much debt you still can't get ahead. And that means that your contributions to the economy are also limited. That is how we've gotten to a world where 43 million Americans collectively owe $1.7 trillion in student debt. That is a number that is only going to keep rising. With me now, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. And Senator, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And, I will note that, I graduated. I had a lot of scholarships. I graduated with about $15,000 worth of debt. Mm-hmm. From Harvard in 1991. But the whole cost of a Harvard education back then was like $22,000 a year. Yep. Our kids, my husband and our kids, each of their educations cost double that. So do you understand the sort of moral hazard argument that people make when they say, why can't you pay it off? It took me like a decade to do it. Why should people not get their debt paid off?
So let's start on this question about who it is who's carrying that student loan debt. It's not Harvard graduates. I appreciate that you had some, but the reality is more than 99% of the people who are carrying student loan debt are not graduating from Ivy League colleges. In fact, 40% of the people who have student loan debt do not have a college diploma. Think about that. These are people who, God bless them, they tried, right? But life happened. Pregnancy, they were trying to work 3 jobs. Their mom got sick. The family had to move to another town. Whatever it was, they weren't able to make it through to a diploma. So now look at the position they're in. Because they weren't born into a family that could pay for it, but they tried. They now earn what a high school grad earns, but they're trying to manage college-level debt, and it is crushing their bones. So I see this as a moment when we just have to kind of decide what kind of a country do we want to be? What is it that we think we do to build a future? And I heard Laura Ingraham say, the answer is make them work till they're 73. And look, unreal. That is right now, in effect, the official position of the United States government. In fact, did you know that tens of thousands of people who are living on Social Security have had their Social Security checks garnished to pay for student loan debt. And sometimes it's their own because, mid-career they went back, tried to get a diploma. A lot of times, though, it's because they guaranteed a debt for a beloved child or a beloved grandchild. Now, we could decide as a nation, just keep grinding on those people as hard as you can, squeeze every last nickel out of them, and watch them get deeper and deeper into debt because you hit them with penalty fees and raised interest rates if they stumble and can't make it. Or we can decide as a nation that we actually are all better off if people try to get an education. Those who succeed, it helps them individually, but it helps all of us. And look, that's not a novel idea. When I went to college, I graduated from the University of Houston when it cost $50 a semester, 50. And the reason that I could graduate from a college that could be paid for on a part-time waitressing job was because American taxpayers invested. And they said, kid, if you're going to get out there and try, we're going to support you and help make that happen. Because that's what we want people to do. We want them to try to get an education. We don't want to just grind up their bones when they try and can't manage the debt.
The thing about this argument that I think is so disingenuous, Senator, is that we're acting as if the government doesn't constantly forgive other kinds of debt. Like, rich people will take out tens of billions of dollars to make a shopping mall and then go into bankruptcy. And there's a special kind of bankruptcy just for rich people. We forgive rich people's debt. Donald Trump got his debt forgiven 5 times that way. And so the thing is that how have we gotten to a point where the government, without a second thought, Steve Mnuchin, back when he was in business, was like, you need money? Here's a check. And then when people who are regular people say, I would like some money, they say, get out and work.
That's exactly. But I'll tell you part of the reason for that. Part of the reason for that is just plain old, the rich people got lots of lobbyists and lots of PR folks and lots of friends whose campaigns they have donated to. Yeah. Folks who are struggling with student loan debt, they don't have a big lobbying arm to get out there for them. All they've got is each other. But that is the key that you mentioned earlier about voting. This is something that's very popular, activates voters up and down the spectrum. And understand, when I say very popular, it's popular among people who have student loan debt, but it's also popular among people who don't. A majority of Americans who do not have student loan debt say, I want to see us forgive a chunk of student loan debt, because most of them know somebody who does. A beloved friend, a child, a coworker. They see what's happening to people and how student loan debt, trying to pay for an education, instead of education being the thing that's the equalizer, everybody gets to be on a level playing field, it actually is tilting the playing field further apart. It's dividing people more economically. And absolutely, that's not the America we want to be. We can do better than that.
Before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this story that ran today, which is not shocking, but it's not surprising, but it's shocking. Republicans pushing, it's on a totally different subject, a national abortion ban. Is that something that the Senate Democrats are bracing for, an attempt by Republicans to take their supposed federalism, throw it in the trash, and try to ban abortion nationwide?
Yeah, actually, you're exactly right. Yes, we are braced for this. No, we are not going to let this happen. We will fight them every inch of the way. But actually, these two stories have something to do with each other. And I want you to look at where the Democrats are and where the Republicans are. The majority of Americans who have debt, don't have debt, who are young, who are old, say cancel a big chunk of student loan debt. The overwhelming majority of Americans say keep Roe versus Wade as the law of the land. The Republicans are on the short end of the stick on both of those. In a democracy, we know what the world ought to look like. A whole lot less student loan debt and a whole lot more protection for people who want access to abortion. The Republicans are fighting us every inch of the way. My view is bring it on. We need to be ready to fight them back.
They have a minority position, but they are aggressive as all get out. Senator Elizabeth Warren, thank you. I want to have